Good evening, everyone. Uh, we are from Group 1, would like to present our presentation about figurative language. Before we start our presentation tonight, uh, let me introduce myself and my friends. My name is Ricky Rianto, and the first speaker is Arum Dani. The second speaker is Lady Talo. The third speaker is Nixon Tode, and fourth speaker is Dertiana. Five speaker is Grace. The next speaker is Reynold, and the last one is Jumria. Now I will give a chance to my friends to present our presentation about figurative language.
Okay, first of all, what is figurative language? In general, figurative language are words and expressions used in poems and texts to convey various meanings and interpretations from the literal meaning. Figurative devices play a major while writing poems, sonnets, or ballads. They are the best tool for a writer to appeal to the senses of the reader. These devices give the reader detailed, vivid, and expressive insights. It also gives dimension to poetry and allows the writer to say things with additional flair and color too. Next.
Now I want to explain about the definition of figurative language according to the experts. Here I take the definition of figurative language based on three experts. First, Reske said figurative language as language which employs various figures of speech on kind of language which departs from the language employed in the traditional, literal ways of describing person or objects. Figurative language can also be used to express a feeling, like express theme, ideas, and feeling of the author. Second, as stated by Giroux and Williston, figurative language is language which departs from the straightforward use of the words. It creates a special effect, clarifies an idea, and makes writing more colorful and forceful. The other definition about figurative language is according to M. H. Abrams. Figurative language is a conspicuous departure from what users of a language apprehend as the standard meaning of words, or else the standard order of words, in order to achieve some special meaning or effect. Figures are sometimes described as primarily poetic, but they are integral to the functioning of language and indispensable to all modes of discourse. So that figurative language is a language that makes something more dramatic and more make like a poem, novel, or song lyric. So we can make a conclusion according to group 1 that figurative language is language or the use of words and expressions that make things more dramatic, make literary works more live and more interesting. Next.
Shortly, figurative language is a form of rhetoric, namely the use of words in speech and writing to convince or influence listeners and readers.
So, why is figurative language important in poetry? Using figurative language is an effective way of communicating an idea that isn't easily understood because of its abstract nature or complexity. Writers of prose and poetry use figurative language to elicit emotion, help readers from mental image, and draw readers into the work. Figurative language adds dimension to our prose and poetry, allowing us to say things with more flair and color, as I said before in general definition. And figurative language tends to be vivid, so it pops and comes alive in people's imaginations. Last but not least, figurative language allows us to say more in fewer words. Next.
What is the function of figurative language? The chief function of figurative language is to communicate the writer's message as clearly as possible. They might be by putting a foreign concept into familiar terms that a reader or listener can easily grasp, or might be by creating imagery that's vivid and visceral. Some types of figurative language also have other uses unrelated to their role in creating imagery. For example, writers use alliteration, consonants, and assonance alongside rhymes to give words rhythm and musicality. Next.
Now I want to explain about types of figurative language. There are several types of figurative language that are used in modern writing. They include 1. Simile. A simile is a figure of speech that compares two unlike things and use the word like or as, and they are commonly used in everyday communication. 2. Metaphor. A metaphor is a statement that compares two things that are not alike. Unlike similes, metaphors do not use the word like or as. Such statements only make sense when the reader understands the connection between the two things being compared. 3. Hyperbole. Hyperbole is an exaggeration that is great to emphasize a point or bring out a sense of humor. 4. Personification. Personification is the attribution of using personification affect the way readers imagine things, and it sparks an interest in the subject. 5. Synecdoche. Synecdoche is a type of figurative language that use one part to revert to the whole, or the whole to revert to the part. Next.
Hi, I'm Mary Grace. The next types of elements or figurative language are onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia comes under the sound device, and in onomatopoeia, the mimic sounds are used. However, it is used in the literature to add reality or fun to the writing. Implied metaphor. The implied metaphor is a metaphor that doesn't explicitly state the comparison. Allusion. An allusion is a reference, typically brief to a person, place, thing, event, or other literary work, with which the reader is presumably familiar. If an allusion is obscure or misunderstood, it can lose effectiveness by confusing the reader. Idiom. Idiom is an expression whose meaning is not predictable from the usual meanings of its constituent element. Pun. Pun is a humorous use of word or phrase that has several meanings or that sounds like another word. Next.
Alliteration. Alliteration is literary technique when two or more words are linked that share the same first consonant sound, such as fish fry. Derived from Latin meaning letters of the alphabet. Here are some examples of alliteration. A good cook could cook as much cookies as a good cook who could cook cookies. Black buck beat a big black bear. Sheep, short sleep, and a shed. uh, Metonymy, a figure of speech consisting of the use of the name of one thing for that of another, of which it's an attribute or with which it is associated, such as crown in lands belonging to the crown. Assonance. In poetry, the repetition of the sound of a vowel or diphthong in non-rhyming stressed syllables near enough to each other for the echo to be discernible. Assonance used a lot in poetry. It's where vowel sounds are repeated. For example, she can walk and talk in the dark. Lee sells many shells. He seems to beam at all the green. Cliché. Cliché is an idea or phrase which has been used so much that it's no longer interesting or effective or no longer has much meaning. For examples, of cliches include demarcations of time, such as in the nick of time and at the speed of light. Cliches also include expression about emotions, such as head over heels to describe love, and the phrase every cloud has a silver lining to express hope in difficult situations. And the last, symbolism. Symbolism occurs when a word has its own meaning but represents something entirely different. Explore a few everyday and literary examples of symbolism. For examples, rainbow. Rainbow symbolizes hope and promise. Promise. Red rose symbolizes love and romance. Wedding ring symbolizes commitment and matrimony. And four-leaf clover symbolizes good luck or fortune. Next.
Now, there are four ways for you to master the figurative language. The first one is recognize and master many types of figurative language in poetry. For example, metaphor, a comparison between two seemingly unlike things. Examples of poems containing metaphor abound. Simile, a comparison between two seemingly unlike things using like or as. Examples of poems containing simile abound. Personification, giving human characteristic into inanimate objects. And allusion, a reference to a famous person, event, or other literary work. Apostrophe, a speech given to inanimate object, an idea, or someone who is dead. Hyperbole, a deliberate exaggeration. Meiosis, a deliberate understatement. Pun, when a word or phrase is used with two different meanings. And the second one is you should be able to identify examples of figurative language in poetry on your own. And the third one, you should be able to explain the purpose of figurative language and analyze how to contribute to the theme of the poem. The fourth one is you should be able to write poetry using figurative language. And the last one is you should be able to use figurative language in your own writing, communicate more clearly.
Why do all most poets use figurative language, and what are the reasons figurative language is so effective? In poetry, poets frequently use figurative language because it can be more meaningful, vivid, and expressive. Figurative language says one thing but means another. However, figurative language doesn't intend to deceive. There is an expectation that figurative language will be understood and correctly interpreted by the listener or reader. We get the term figure of speech from figurative language. Here are 5 reasons why figurative language is so effective. The first one, figurative language adds dimension to our prose and poetry, allowing us to say things with more flair and color. Figurative language tends to be vivid, so it pops and comes alive in people's imaginations. The second, figurative language allows us to say more in fewer words. We can often express an idea in a single sentence using figurative language, but it would take a full paragraph to communicate the same idea in literal terms. The third, we often use figurative language in imagery or sensory details, making our language more sensuous and visual. And the fourth, figurative language engages our emotions. Like he's very old, simply doesn't inspire the same emotional response as he's as old as the hills. And the last, figurative language allows us stronger or more intense expressions. This is commonly seen in the use of vulgarity, which is often used figuratively and to add intensity to an expression. Next slide, please. So now, the example of figurative language analysis in some poetry. You can see on the screen, the first one is Red Rose by Robert Burns. The element in this poetry is hyperbole. The example, the entire poem. Nothing suits hyperbole more than a love poem. Burns claims he will love his bunny lass till all the seas dry up, the rocks melt with the sun, and the suns of life run dry. Wow, he also claimed he would walk 10,000 miles to see his true love again. The next is Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. The element in this poetry is meiosis, the example, but if it had to breathe twice. The analysis, the entire poem's understatement is emphasized with the destruction of the world, however, would take more than adequate disaster. And the last is Agorist of Innocence by William Black. The element in this poem is apostrophe. The example, a flowery tale more old by addressing the artist who painted the picture on the urn. He comments on the art and questions the images throughout the poem. Next.
Okay, after we listen my friends present our result of presentation about figurative language, now I will give a conclusion or summary about our topic or our materials is figurative language. Figurative language is when you describe some things by comparing some things with something else. Like when you're using words or phrase, it's not it is not using literary meanings. It's use metaphor, smiles, hyperbole, and other example that which my friends already presented. The importance of figurative language is to describe everything or some things that you make in poetry. The function of figurative language is compare things in order to give explanation more detail on something that we are describing. And the last one is the element of figurative language. There are smiley, metaphor, hyperbole, personification, synecdoches, metaphor, anotopia, illustration, idiom, pun, and alliteration, atonymity, assonances, classes, and symbol. I think that's all for the conclusion. And next, okay, that's all for our presentation about figurative language. Thank you.